Welcome to the NC Spin After Spin. Additional comments from our panelists just available on our website. I want to ask each of them to tell us what they wish they had said in last week's show but didn't do it. Chris, we'll start with you.
Tom, we talked about the dispute over the unemployment statistics and job growth in North Carolina, and I've mentioned this in the last couple of weeks on this program, but Governor Pat McCrory said recently one of the things he's going to be trying to do is convince lawmakers to revisit the decision to allow the historic tax credit to expire. This is one of the few programs in North Carolina that's supported by environmentalists, home builders, developers, local officials. It creates thousands of jobs, brings a lot of investment to North Carolina, and I think this will be part of the governor's job creation package, but there is still a lot of opposition from the Senate leadership, Senator Bob Rucho and others who crafted the tax reform plan. This will be one of the most interesting job versus tax reform battles, I think, of the 2015 session.
And it'll pit some
unusual
factions in the same party against each other. Gene, what do you wish you'd said?
Well, I think I said about all I had to say, Tommy, except I think this...
That's the most unusual response to that question I've ever had.
I think the interesting thing that's going to be, that we'll be able to watch during the General Assembly this year is that you do have basically a new person in as Speaker and a new set of people in charge in the House. You still have a governor that's not quite sure how the General Assembly and he are supposed to work together. And then you have Senator Berger and the people that he has had in place for 6 years now. And it clearly says to me that we're going to be dictated to by whatever the Senate wants.
Dennis, what do you wish you'd said?
Well, this past week, the governor's lawsuit was filed, and along with Governors Hunt and Martin on the separation of powers question about the Coal Ash Commission and the constitutionality thereof. With the three-panel judge now being appointed for that case, I'm watching with a lot of interest to see how that's all going to turn out, because one day somebody's going to challenge the constitutionality of whether or not 3 judges are needed to decide whether a constitutional case moves forward or not. And it'll be most interesting to see if that's a 3-panel judge that does that, or what we used to do under the Constitution, a single judge.
So the constitutionality of the question on constitutionality is going to be challenged.
Precisely.
Doug Raymond, what do you wish you'd have said?
Well, I did get a chance to mention the zero-based budgeting that's coming out, which I think is a really common sense piece of legislation. And I'd like to see them take another common sense step, and I wish I would have had a chance to talk about it. And that is to change the deadline for the budget to be done. Every year, our 100 counties have to hit a moving target, and particularly when it comes to education funding. And it's just ridiculous that they can't move that up a little bit so the counties will actually have real numbers to look at their biggest budget line item. It wouldn't be a real difficult thing to do, but it seems it never gets tackled. And they did a good job of using some common sense with zero-based budgeting. Maybe in the next session they can look at possibly doing something like that.
Well, thanks for watching the After Spin. More video all during the week on ncspin.com.